So even though the swap meet was really big and packed and super fun, I didn't really sell a ton of stuff, a few little things. I did forget my biggest case of my best parts. But I did get some things. So this is like my biggest score. So for $60, I got all of this stuff. First, I bought a couple of brand new silicone grips from her for the Nothing Special bike for $5 each, so that's a great deal. And then I came back and dug through and found some new Continental brake pads that I use all the time for stuff. They're great for old, crappy, vintagey bikes and actually stopping in wet weather, and they're made here in Portland, which is cool. The tire bead jack, this is the greatest tool you can ever have, also made by Cool Stop here in Portland, for getting tight tires onto tight rims. It is absolutely heaven, and I use it constantly. Fun stuff that no one cares about, like this little dummy axle that comes in bikes when they get shipped from the factory. These are great for shipping forks and things. Stuff them back in there so they don't get crushed and smushed out of shape in the packing. Really excited about when got me digging was these brand new cases of rim tape. Rim tape's not a sexy or exciting thing except for when you need it and don't have it. Safal used to be the best brand before New Bombs came out, and then I've sort of avoided it ever since, but I'll take a couple cases of this stuff for almost nothing. And we were negotiating back and forth on price, and they said 100, and I said 20, and then we said maybe 40, and then they said up to 45, and at the last second she decided to charge me 50, so I made her throw in this new Park Tool 3-way, the little like 2.5 tiny Allen wrenches. They're one of the few tools that I don't have that you use constantly, and I'm always reaching for it and don't have it, so this is actually my most exciting score of the day. I'm kind of doing this in reverse order. So I didn't really shop much at the swap meet because it was kind of busy and stuff was happening. And so I was just walking, I got my last load in from the car. I was walking back and just saw this VO seat post. It's the Grand Cru Super Setback, shiny silver, barely scuffy at all. My favorite seat post. I use them in almost everything. And the guy only wanted $10 for it. These go for 25 or 30 scratched up sometimes. So $10, I couldn't pass it up. So there went my change. Then, walking a few more feet, I found the Bike Farm booth and stopped and said hi because they had my first ever frame builder fork. The first fork I built in 2010 at UBI. I gave it away to my friend Dumpster Dave like 6 years ago. His tie light speed got stolen and he got it back and he's trying to put it back together. And it was all the right things. He took it in, he had it powder coated, all custom and all that, and then there it was at the Bike Farm booth. I looked at it, I didn't buy it, but I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's crazy. I wonder what happened to old Dumpster Dave. That guy's always going through so much stuff. And then on the table, I noticed these mint condition Suntour Superb, or these ones say multi-mount. These like Superb Pro brake levers. These are the best brake levers ever made. They're comfortable, they're grippy, they're cool looking. They have awesome brass barrel adjusters. They kick in at an angle, so they're great for slightly sweepy bars to keep your cables and housing in all tight, so you don't make giant loops, especially on like Portour bikes and things. Just mint condition. Then, the guy at the booth right next to me was this cool old guy. He had a bunch of cool stuff. He was a real nice dude. And I wasn't going to buy it, but I was kind of thinking about a front rack. You know, this is the cool Soma Portour one. This is kind of my favorite front rack. We used to stock these at the shop because it's got lowrider mounts. So you can use small front panniers. It's got a little adjustable feet, so you use them on track nuts or whatever and move it up and down. Little center mount. And it had a $20 price sticker on it. These usually go for like 60 to 80 used. It's for $20 with all the hardware. I couldn't say no, and it might go on the Nothing Special bike, even though the fender, a brake, and the rack mount all in one bolt's, that's a lot. It's really best for like a canny bike, but we'll see. Then later on, I noticed he had in a little box, wasn't even on the table, this brand new Shimano single-speed freewheel, which is one of the things I desperately wanted for the Bridgestone 400 bike. I got a good single-speed wheel set, but the freewheel on it is like junky and frozen solid. And the chainring's kind of big, so I want a kind of bigger freewheel. And he sold it to me for $5, brand new. Then later on, my friend Cheever of Evil Bikes came up and introduced me, and the guy gave me a sticker. He's the Cars or Coffin guy. I didn't even realize he was still around or doing that. I thought this was like done before I even got into bikes. I mean, everyone back in the mid to late 2000s was so into Cars or Coffin stuff. He gave me the sticker, and I was like, that's awesome. So that was kind of like a fun highlight, meeting a real Portland bike guy who I've never met before somehow. And then at the booth right next to me as well was a free box saying you must take all. A few things I threw in the recycling, but the rest of it I'm saving. And this was all in there. There are people who usually deal in like really high-end vintage stuff, so I don't think they cared about this stuff much. And then someone walked up to me with this Originate big alloy, but still kind of heavy because it's thick tubes, Portour rack. Very cool. I've never actually played with one. I've always bought the Somas, but they walked up and I had this Surly fork. I've been sitting on for months on eBay. People have lowballed me. A couple people have bought it and then not paid for it. I'm like, whatever, the Surly fork should sell. It doesn't. I don't care. It was on the table, and the guy walked up and said, hey, will you trade? I want this Surly fork. And he had this rack. And I said, absolutely. He looked shocked. So maybe these aren't worth that much, but, you know, I think a cool Portour rack's way worth more than a old Surly fork I'll never use ever. Because this can go on anything. That fork can only fit certain bikes. So I said yes to it. Ta-da! This giant weird Trek. So this bike is not something, it's not really a swap meet score. I found it on Facebook Marketplace and messaged them, and the only time they could meet was Sunday during the swap meet. I'm like, hey, I'm at this swap meet. I can buy it if you drop it off there. And they said, yeah, sure, we're running an errand. We're going to go right past there. So they brought this to the swap meet to drop off. These people were, it was like a roommate's bike, and he was kind of a bike nerd years and years and years ago, and he gave it away to the current roommate, and he never rode it, and it sort of just sat in like, you know, an outdoor little bike shed thing for years and years and years. So you can see that everything is rusty. Rusty chain, really rusty bolts, little bits of rust around the lug, rusty headset. But I bought it because of this handlebar shape. That sure looked like a nice Nitto bar to me. One that just paid $60 for a different one. And these brake levers look like they could be something cool. And they really might be. They're like Coda mountain bike brake levers from the 90s. So if they're not thrashed, these will be cool. And then it showed up. It's like, it's really rusty. You sure you want to buy it? And I looked and I saw that this is a Nitto stem as well. So now I really think these are the nice Nitto bars. I was like, yeah, sure. And then I noticed it has a Paul front brake. The big racer. I was like, oh. It's got some Shimano 105 shifters that match that rear derailleur and that rear hub. And then I noticed something weird. I thought this was an old 700C bike, but I think it's a mountain bike shaped like a 700C bike, or they just stuck 26-inch wheels in. But check this out. It's got nice Synergy rims from 5 or 10 years ago. Dior LX hubs like 9-speed era. It's got Schwalbe Marathons that aren't cracked or dry or dead. Totally usable. It's got, you know, some fenders on it if I cared. I mean, actually couldn't go on my mountain bike probably and be awesome. That I use for commuting. That I'm going to replace with the Nothing Special bike. We got this nice matching wheel set that looks round and true and possibly hand-built. I don't know if they came this way or maybe it's a QBP hand-built thing. A junk rear brake, but like kind of a nice old stainless rear rack. I don't remember exactly which one it is, but I know I've seen them before. A rear rack with the pump peg mounts in it. That's cool. You know, a junk Altus derailleur. Some like middling Shimano Ally mountain bike cranks, but with cool rings. Vintage 90s Velta outer ring. There's a Salsa inner ring. Who knows what's in the middle, but I always need cool rings, like a crappy Sora derailleur, but this frame's got true temper. So I'm going to tear this bike down for parts. Half the stuff I got at the swap meet. These cool MKS pedals that are rusty. I hope they'll come out. But yeah, half the stuff I took to the swap meet didn't sell. All my cheap parts are just piling up, and so I'm going to go donate them to Bike Farm right now. Now I talked to the guy at Bike Farm. He wants me to come teach a class or do a workshop on some stuff. So maybe I'll set that up. Maybe I'll do a little shop tour video. I did already check the stem because I was horrified that it was going to be frozen and wreck the best part of this bike. And it comes out, so that's a real good sign. See if this rear comes out and what the spacing is on this frame, because this old 9-speed Dior hub is probably 135. This frame's probably 126 if it's a road frame. Oh yeah, it's in there tight. But I am excited about these wheels, and if they're not too, yeah, the hardware doesn't look too rusty crusty, the seal's held up, bearings feel nice and smooth, they're really round and true, there's like no brake wear at all. There's a good chance these spoke nipples aren't even frozen. This is spaced 130. I don't really want to go find my penetrating oil, and it probably won't matter, but I'm going to drop a little bit of just chain lube on these crusty, rusty old MKS pedals that still feel amazing, they look ugly. It's got a cool old Ritchie front cable stop. Oh, the barrel duster's not even frozen, so this will clean up. This is cool, man. See if we can save these Paul brakes. That's a nice and loose. See if we can get these old rusty pads off. Uh-oh. Yes. And these pads have minimal wear on them, so I think somebody built this bike up and really did not ride it much. So it's definitely like the Nothing Special Schwinn, where someone built it up and used whatever weird, kind of high-end or nicer parts they thought, just all mismatched and weird. Probably stuff they got deals on, maybe stuff they found at a co-op. There's all the nicest things they had there, like. But yeah, even this bolt isn't super rusty. This Paul brake looks nice. Paul component stuff, handmade in Chico here in America. It's really cool. It's very 90s mountain bike billet, aesthetic. Paul's cool. The stuff they make is really high quality. So, neato. Keep thinking this. Yeah, that thing is rusty, but still came right out. The lube definitely penetrated and got all the bolts, which is cool. The whole threads were wet. And I'm getting too many tools piling up in this basket. I gotta work on this tool board some more and make some room. Hang some more stuff up. Utilize every inch. Okay, I got this thing stripped. Everything came apart way easier than I thought. For the bike with a bunch of rust. Moment of truth, seat post. Who wants to take bets when the seat post comes out? I would be willing to bet almost anything on that it doesn't come out or comes out really hard. But everything else came out nice. Maybe they greased it. Maybe it's going to be alright. Seat post is loose. I should be clamped far enough away where I'm not holding it down. Oh, and it turns. It's coming. Doesn't even look like they really greased it. And it's definitely cut down super short. But hey man, whatever, it's a nice old Ritchie. Basically the ones that the VOs are modeled after. And it came right out. I guess cut down so much. I won't know the size of the clamp, but probably 27 tubes. It's a nice truck with good tubes. Slap a different wheel in here. I think this is a 700. 700 by 23. Look at that. Fits totally fine. I bet this was originally a 700C bike. The real question is, should I take this frame straight to Bike Farm or donate? I definitely got a bunch of cool parts. I guess I still have to pull the bars apart and really take a look at them. I'm earning my money on this weird silver vinyl-y bar tape. It is just the little sticky strip or glue they use on it is sticking to the bar so good and is tearing this tape to shreds. And we do get most of it off. It's sticking. The rest is sticking. It's going to take forever to clean off. I might have to get chemicals out because this is a bummer. But the bar is looking more and more like a Nitto Chromo bar. It's Nitto Chromo stem. I want to measure it compared to that expensive one I bought. So this is the bar I'm hoping it is, which I don't remember the name of. It's those Rivendale-y things, the B352, 550 wide. Dude, this is so the same bar. Very Rivendale, very cool. I was gonna put it on something and try riding it. Make my bike too fancy. This would have been awesome on the Nothing Special Schwinn, except it would have made it something special, so no. Trying to be a little less pretentious with bikes. Realize that a lot of middling parts are just as nice as expensive parts, only without the ego of the name brand. We can have more fun on bikes with parts we don't care about scratching up or dinging up. Call them bar bikes, cafe cruisers. Bikes we don't worry as much about getting stolen because they have $100 worth of parts on them instead of $2,000 worth of parts on them. So I went to Bike Farm and donated all the junk and went ahead and got myself some sweet stuff too. I did find my matching Dior left-hand lever for the Nothing Special Schwinn. I just realized this. No. This is definitely a left-hand lever, but it's got a right-hand lever blade in it? Oh, Bike Farm. Knew there was something weird about it. I wonder if it's a little sticky. Well, you know, whatever. Maybe I didn't find my lever. And I found a little silver sort of mid-reach with a really long, so I think I can actually use this on the fork crown of the Bridgestone 400. And a kind of matching Tektro silver front, which I think I can use in the rear of the Bridgestone 400, because it should poke all the way through and I get a nut on it. So I can basically make this into a nutted set. And a matching Nash bar, nothing special, silver recessed nut brake set, which with cool holders, which maybe I will actually just put on the Nothing Special Schwinn, since I'm kind of bummed out about those stock Schwinn brakes and they're all squealing and terrible anyways. Maybe I'll Nash bar it up if they fit. But while editing the video and thinking about this stuff, I kept wondering, like, why someone would put 26-inch wheels on a 700C road frame. Doesn't make any sense. And then I kept remembering, like, I kept glancing at the wheels and being mad because there's nothing real specific about them. I'm checking these tires everywhere. These tires don't say what size they are anywhere. And I'm like, what a bunch of jerks. And I realized why, because they're probably early repops of the 650B/42. So I got my measuring tape. And I got an old 26-inch rim and this rim that came off the rusty Trek. And, oh, with Ultegra skewers. Fancy. And yeah, these are 650B rims. That was a popular conversion back then, and people are doing the weird mountain bikey stuff. And so even cooler, this 26-inch wheel set, which is kind of cool, is now a 650B wheel set, which is way cooler. And this brake lever, I dug everywhere for this thing. We finally found one hidden in a drawer. I knew there was something off. That is so funny. I think I'll probably just not care and run it. Huh. But yeah, so Bike Farm was basically a success. And we'll have to go back there and do a shop tour video. But that is my swap meet video and my swap meet scores. So thanks for watching.